Good morning once again. Turn to someone and tell them, you are the one. You are the one. You are the one. Thank you. You are the one. Haven't you ever wanted to just simply be the one? Right? You are the one. And as I stand here and I look out at all of you, I just can't help but feeling such a deep sense of gratitude and thanksgiving for each of you. I'm so glad that you are here, that you came out this morning and you made a high choice to be here in this environment, in this sacred space, to worship together, to pray together, to rejoice and sing and celebrate together. There's something so powerful about us being together. You know, yes, thank you, yes. We're all here by divine appointment. Now, I say this all the time. Many heard the call this morning, right? But they made another choice, and that's fine. But you're here by divine appointment. And we say that often in New Thought churches, meaning that something, the divine or God, whatever name you want to call it, called you to a particular time and for a particular purpose. When you are in the midst of a divine appointment, it is because you have been called to a particular time and to a particular purpose. Maybe a particular place, but it's a divine appointment. And as I was thinking about that this morning, I was wondering, because I believe that it's true, that when we really answer an inner call, when we have a divine appointment, we could be no other place than where we are in that moment. And that there's something higher at work in our lives and affairs to bring us to every particular point in our lives. For whatever the experience may be, however you want to name it, good, bad, or indifferent, it could be a divine appointment. And sometimes we don't see that the real reason in the moment. Sometimes we're able to, but sometimes it doesn't show itself until later. And then you can say, that's why I needed to be where I was. That's why I needed to have that experience that I had. I could not see it in the moment, but it was a divine appointment. Now, while I believe we have these often, I was wondering if we really, truly understand the magnitude and the significance of our coming together. Coming together Sunday after Sunday, coming together whether it's for a meditation experience during the week or a class or whatever, but especially I'm talking about coming together here now in a situation like this on a Sunday morning. If we really understand the magnitude and the significance of what takes place when we come together, especially at a time like this in our history, and especially at a time like this in our evolution. There's something powerful about us coming together. And if people really understood the impact and the power that we actually have to transform the world just by our coming together, this church would be packed. If people really understood what is taking place. You see, there's power. There is great power in the collective consciousness, in the collective energy field that is created when people come together in consciousness. Because the truth of the matter is that we actually are more powerful together than we are individually. Now, I know that most of the world is still on the what's in it for me bandwagon, okay? What's in it for me? And we are like that sometimes, you know. We want to know, well, how can I grow, right? How can I succeed? So a lot of times our message and New Thought or whatever is about our growth, our individual growth, and how we can succeed in life. How can I better my life experience? And all that's fine, okay? But it's about I, me, right? And I don't want you to get me wrong, because there really is nothing wrong with us wanting or desiring things for oneself, for ourselves. Nothing wrong with that. To desire a better life, to want more happiness. But what I'm here to say this morning is that there actually is an easier and more beneficial way for us to achieve that, whether it's a better life, happiness, success, growth, whatever. Pleasantness, there's a better way and an easier way for us to achieve it, which is beyond simply focusing on self. And when you tap into this way, you not only get there in an easier fashion, but so does everybody else. So does everybody else, right? And this is powerful because it becomes a win-win for everybody. Now, what I think is taking place, what is happening is, and it is happening, even though when we look out with natural eyes into the world, it may look like this is not taking place. But what is happening is as we begin to develop and mature spiritually, and believe it or not, the world is maturing spiritually. You got more and more people, you know, there's a meditation room in hospitals. In the corporate world, you'll find meditation rooms. You can find people out in the park doing Tai Chi. More and more people are becoming more spiritually in tune. So that is happening, even though this other is happening, and that's okay. It's part of the process. You know, sometimes when things are dying out, it has to just make its presence known even more. Right? Mr. Filmer used to say that noise was a dying vibration of a spent force. So what happens? All this noise, it's a dying vibration of a spent force. That way of being, that way of thinking is leaving. And but it's making noise, and that's okay. But noise is on the back end of meaning that it's passing. So there's something powerful about this, what's taking place on the planet, that as we begin to mature spiritually and as we begin to grow, what happens is we begin to move very naturally from the me to the we. We move from the me to the we. Now, when I first started as a truth student, and I understood that I was able to generate a parking space when I wanted one, you know, I was like, oh man, this is good. Parking space appeared. You know, I was really into what I could generate, right? Oh, I need this, and that was fine. But I've been on the journey for a long time, and I have shifted all of a sudden in from the me to the we. Because I'm recognizing that the me actually is able to be blessed when I am able to tap into the we. And this kind of feeling, it happens naturally as you begin to elevate your consciousness. Okay, so don't feel bad if you're still in the me. It's okay. Eventually, you will get to the we. So that's what's happening on the planet. And believe it or not, when you move into this we vibration, into the we consciousness, you will still benefit tremendously from being a part of the collective. You still get, in fact, because you are now into the collective consciousness, the collective energy begins to create a field of consciousness, a field of energy that makes it easier for you to step into it and expand. This is spiritually how it works, that when you come together as a collective force, you create a greater force for everybody. And it becomes easier. For example, if 10 people meditating can create a higher field of energy than perhaps one person alone can do. Now, I'm not saying that one person can't, because there are people who are operating and vibrating at such a high intensity, it doesn't matter if there's 10 or 20 or 30 or 40, that their vibration, their consciousness is high enough and strong enough that they have the consciousness of 10 people, 100 people. I've been in the presence of such beings, but for the most part, 10 people meditating at a high vibration creates a field that might be stronger and higher than one person meditating alone. And just by your being in that field with others, your own vibration expands and grows. And this is why, I always tell people when they come up to me and they say, I have such a hard time meditating or learning how to meditate or meditating by myself, my mind wanders, and that's typical. But I always say to them, you should come then and join with either a silent unity Wednesday prayer time or the Thursday meditation. But what it is you should join in a group who is meditating. Because then it will be easy, that force field that is created will be easier for you to then meditate, as opposed to when you're home trying to struggle on your own. It's the same thing that happens when I go to the Wonders University in India. When I am there, because those monks are vibrating consistently, meditating and vibrating at such a high rate that all of us that come, we then get lifted up into that vibration. And it stays with me for a while after I come back. I can feel that I'm vibrating. Everything is quicker. My thoughts are quicker. I'm manifesting faster. And then, of course, maybe after about a month of being back, into this vibration, not this one here, but the one that's in the world, I find myself, slipping back into that lower consciousness or vibration. Or if you go to Unity Village and when I lived at the village, there was a high vibration there, a field that was created so that, when I went to the prayer chapel, the prayer room that people had been praying in for over 100 years, there's a vibration. The moment I stepped into that room, I could feel that vibration that was there. And it moved me into a higher vibration. And when you come here into this sacred space, and we, the collective we, are creating a force field for good so that when people come into this place who don't even know who we are, they tell me there's something here, I feel something in this place. And I say, yes, you should come on Sunday. See, what I'm talking about is real. We are doing a work for each other. James Rosoff said this. He said, you've got to stop thinking of consciousness as your own. You're only thinking for yourself when you are by yourself. As soon as you are in the presence of others, your consciousness is linked at some level to those others. Now, they are finally proving that this is what takes place when we come in contact with one another. A linkage begins to happen, right? Heart to heart, soul to soul, thought to thought. And I'm thinking this is really powerful because this can be positive or negative depending upon the consciousness of those others and depending upon your consciousness. Because haven't you ever been in a place where there's a low vibration, then you bring in a higher vibration and things change? Or if your vibration is low and you move into a high vibration, you affect what's taking place there. Either way, we are affected by one another. Do you get that point? And we've all experienced this. So what that says to me is that we need to be cautious and conscious, not only of the company we keep, but of the consciousness we are projecting and holding. Because we are affecting people one way or another. And when I go into a situation where I know that, something has occurred and I'm already antsy, that antsiness, that edginess affects the outcome. And usually it's not good. But I also know I've had the experience where I said, well, let me calm down. Let me be centered. Let me pray. Let me put out a different vibration. That all of a sudden things just unfold and people are smiling ashore. It's real, friends. It's very, very real. So on the positive, what this says is that when we come together with like-minded people and we begin to link our thought field together, we can create something very powerful. When we come together with a conscious intention to link our thought field, our heart field, our vibration with one another for a high purpose, we create something very powerful. And this is why it is good, because we come together, we're affirming each other. We're creating a consciousness that can actually lift everybody up, right? So that we can feel, you come into a space, maybe you were down, but once you got here, you can feel the vibrations of others you leave lifted. You come in with a heavy heart, and maybe you don't even say anything to anybody else, but at the end of the service, through the music vibration, through the message vibration, to the vibration of the people, something happens in you and you're transformed, right? So you think you're coming because of this person, but you're being drawn here by the vibration that we are creating as a force field. It's not a really just, I said, people say, oh, I like it because, I like coming to Unity because it feels so good. I leave feeling good. And I think that's really good. I want you to leave feeling good, but I want you more importantly to leave feeling the good. You understand? I don't want you just feeling good. I want you to feel the good, to feel the vibration that is not only in this place, but that is within you and in what we are creating together. So that when you feel the good, that vibration, you're able to hold on to it for a minute and then go out and affect the world. And we keep coming back because sometimes when we're not, you have to keep feeding it. This is the whole thing, People think, oh, I was enlightened yesterday. That was yesterday. Are you enlightened today? Right? Today, you still have to maintain that vibration. So we continually come to support each other and lift each other up and pray for each other. This is really powerful because the stronger your vibration and the stronger your consciousness is, the stronger you will be able to aid in the lifting of others. Jesus said, if I be lifted up, I will draw all men, women, whatever, unto me. Now, I love this scripture. It can be taken in a number of ways. You can look at it as if he was saying, well, if I be lifted up, meaning lifted up on the cross, which is what a lot of our traditional colleagues say that that's what he's speaking of. If I be lifted up on the cross, then I'll draw men unto me. Meaning if I have this experience, not only of being lifted up on the cross, but actually transcending the cross, rising above the cross, rising above death into life, then I'll draw all men. That vibration is so powerful, I'll be able to draw others into it. That's a powerful thought. But what if he was also talking about his consciousness? Because Jesus was a metaphysician. We are metaphysicians, and metaphysicians relate to consciousness. What if he was saying, if my consciousness be lifted up, if the Christ consciousness, the divine consciousness, the consciousness of my divinity, what if that was lifted up? If that's lifted up, I'll draw all men unto me. Meaning that if the Christ consciousness is put out there in such a degree that others could tap into it, then they too would be what? Raised into that consciousness, that awareness of who they are as divine being, as children of God, as the Most High, the Christ in them, as them, through them, they would be lifted up. They would be expressing this same vibration. It's a powerful thought to have. So, Jesus then is an example for us. Putting forth that vibration enables us to know that it can be done. He also said, speaking as the Christ, where two or three are gathered together in my name, and name spiritually means nature, there I am in the midst of them. If two or three are gathered together in my nature, in the nature of what? That Christ, in the nature of our divinity, then the divine is in the midst of them. right? So this is giving us a clue as to what we're able to do for each other. See, folks, we have power to do great things when we come together. We magnify, we amplify. When we come together, we can amplify the presence of spirit, the presence of God, and therefore we're amplifying our consciousness. And when we can amplify our consciousness, we then can amplify and demonstrate the power of God at work in more powerful ways. Our prayers become stronger. Our shift in consciousness becomes stronger, and therefore the shift that's taking place on the planet or in our lives becomes stronger. Our blessings becomes greater. Everything becomes greater, and it's magnified. That's the beauty, you see. We've all heard of the butterfly effect, have we not? Have you heard of the butterfly effect? Right. Which states that when a butterfly flaps its wings in the Amazon jungle, that the effects of that motion is felt here. Okay? That wave of energy that the butterfly is creating in the Amazon is the same wave of energy that has a rippling effect all the way to here and beyond. Now, we've got to think about this, because we just saying that our thoughts are prayers. See, our thoughts are energy, and they have a rippling effect. You know, that when we are holding a vibration, it's like the effect of that butterfly. That thought goes out into the ethers, it goes out into the consciousness, and it has an effect on things. And it carries great energy. So what that says is that the time is here and now to be more conscious about what we want to put out into the universe, what kinds of thoughts we're holding out there, because everything is affecting the experience of all. We may be one person, but we are affecting the world with our very being, our very presence. So what if we began living on purpose? What if we began to set our intentions in motion from a purer and clearer point of view? What if our actions were positive? What if our speech was only positive? You know, what if our thoughts were high thoughts as to what is possible for us and for others in the world? See, we do have tremendous power. What if we were to actually use our lives and our spiritual journey to really transform the world? Because if the butterfly can do it, certainly we can do it. If the butterfly flapping its wings has an effect on the energy field in the world, then we can have an effect in the energy field of the world. It simply means we might have to be more conscious. We have to be more conscious with our words, our thoughts, our perceptions, our feelings, our actions, all the stuff that we're not speaking out there, but also holding in here, because it's vibration. We've got to be more conscious about living more purposefully, right? With the intention of changing the world for the greater good of all concerned. Because the one can and does affect the many. You know that you can go into a group and one person can change the vibration of that group, either high or low, right? One person coming into your force field can change your vibration. You might say, I need to get away from so-and-so. Do not think that the one does not affect the many. The one can affect the many. And what that says is then two or more focused with a powerful intention, with the same intention and the same desire, can increase the force field so that it enables that intention and that desire to manifest. This is when we start using what we know consciously. Jesus said this. He said this in Matthew 18. He said, again I say unto you, if two of you shall agree on earth as touching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done for them of my Father which is in heaven. I'll read it again. This is the King James Version. Again I say unto you that if two of you shall agree on earth as touching anything that they ask, it shall be done for them of my Father who is in heaven. And then it says this in the Message. And this is, again, Matthew 18, verses 18 through 20. Take this most seriously. A yes on earth is yes in heaven. A no on earth is no in heaven. Heaven is consciousness, the highest state of consciousness. What you say to one another is eternal. I mean this. When two of you get together on anything at all on earth and make a prayer of it, my Father in heaven goes into action. And when 2 or 3 of you are gathered together because of me, you can be sure I will be there. I love the Message. But what this says is so powerful. The first one from King James says that when you are touch and agree, when you touch somebody, you're able to what? Feel them. You feel their vibration. And when you touch them, not only physically, but when you touch them spiritually, there's a vibration and a rippling and an energy that goes forth. And when you touch and agree, what that means, when you're touching each other with the same thought and vibration and intention, some powerful stuff is beginning to happen. Right? And this one says, the Message says it this way, a no and a yes is a yes in earth is a yes in heaven. When you get together on anything at all earth and you pray upon it, my Father goes into action. So, this is some powerful stuff. Not maybe does God, but when you do it, it's powerful. When you get together. So here's a novel thought. Get a prayer partner. I'm not saying that as a get a prayer partner. Someone who will join you in magnifying your energy and spiritual field of influence and manifestation. This is powerful stuff. See, get together with somebody, because it says where 2 or more are gathered. You only need you can have a whole big, but if you get somebody else, right? To say, let's magnify the prayer field, the spiritual energy that we're doing in our field of influence. We'll do things. We'll manifest something magnificent. When you get together with a person, with a prayer partner, you need to be clear and you need to be focused. So I say this because this is not for the purpose of getting together to chat. It's not for the purpose to do check-in, how you doing, what's going on, to talk about problems and challenges. You can do that at another time. But when you are getting together for prayer, it is for a high purpose to magnify your spiritual force field, your spiritual energy, so that you magnify the energy. So when you speak into the field that the two of you have created, you will then have a greater opportunity to manifest that prayer. You get that? But when we come into a prayer consciousness and we start diluting with, well, you know what, girl, so-and-so, that's not praying. You do that later. Get you a good prayer partner that understands what the two of you are really doing and that you're coming together for this high purpose. I got some prayer people when I call on them for prayer and prayer only. We talk about other things later. But when I say, I need you to pray with me, bam, they're on it. And we create that field right then and there. And once that's done, we move on and something else can take place. It's very, very powerful, you see. This is a sacred opportunity. And I'm just going to say this. Early on in my spiritual development, my spiritual teachers used to say, just don't get anybody to pray. Don't ask anybody to pray with you. Because everybody does not have the consciousness or maybe even the desire to really pray aright for you. Smiling faces is not always the thing. So you need to get someone that you know has a prayer consciousness. You need to get someone you know who is grounded in the truth. You know that when they are going to pray, they're going to pray for your highest good. Don't ask everybody. Get somebody who you know is going to help magnify your field. Okay, powerful stuff. So, even Jesus understood this whole thing of getting together. He asked his disciples to watch and pray with him, right? And of course, the disciples did what? They fell asleep. They couldn't even. That's what I'm saying. Don't ask everybody, because they'll be asleep on the job. 3 times he asked them, can you pray with me? And the 3rd time he said, look, y'all go ahead and you do your sleep. I got this on my own. Okay. So ask those people. We were going to pray not only for yourself, but pray for each other. Speak the word. Create the field of vibration first. Pray for each other. Pray for this church. So you pray for this church? Yes, some of you I know do. Pray for this church. Pray for each other. Because we're doing a great thing here, and I know that I don't want to be the best kept secret in town. There are so many people out there doing the work that need to come in and add their vibration to what we're doing here. But you can hold that vibration. Don't expect me to only be the one that's holding it. We can amplify the work we're doing when you add your voice, you add your consciousness, you add your faith, you add your commitment. Don't come and just sit in the pews. Come in here to do the work. We're doing a great work for humanity, a mighty work. The collective voice, the collective vibration is powerful. And so I'll leave you with this. If you cannot find another person to join with in consciousness, then don't worry about that. Because the moment you are able to connect your consciousness to the presence of God, then you've tapped into a field of consciousness that is mighty. Okay? That is mighty. And when you tap into that field of consciousness, the awareness, the presence of God, then of course it will lift you into places that you have not been before. It'll bless you. It'll heal you. It'll cause your body to begin to resonate with the vibration of health and wholeness. It'll cause your affairs to be brought into perfect alignment. Your resources, your abundance, everything begins to fall into place when you know how to touch the right vibration. The high vibrations, because everything is vibration. So you want to get yourself in perfect alignment with the one. You want to be one with the one. One with the one. But that vibration. And if you begin to make that a habit, and you begin to make that a part of your consciousness, you do it consistently, you will become a force to be reckoned with. A force for good. A force for God. The collective needs you. Will you be the one? Are you the one? Yes. Thank you. I got 3 people who are the one. I'll take 3, Lord. I'll take 3. I'll take 3, because if I got 3 that are powerful, then I got something. The rest of y'all are going to catch up later, but that's all right. Turn to someone and tell them, you are the one. You are the one. And this, beloved ones, is the truth. Namaste and blessings. Namaste and blessings.